Sony has had a rough time getting its live-action Spider-Man universe off the ground. Ever since Peter Parker joined the MCU, his associates have failed to connect with audiences, with films ranging from mildly entertaining, Venom, to downright terrible, Madam Web. They've all failed to justify investing in their shared universe. Because of this, the skepticism aimed at Spider-Noir has merit. The last thing anybody wants is another mediocre spin-off. Thankfully, due to its compelling plot, outstanding cast, and solid direction, Spider-Noir proves to be one of the best Spider-themed adaptations ever. Before getting into what Spider-Noir is, I should mention what it isn't. Those looking for a strict adherence to a specific comic won't find it here. The story still takes place in an alternate 1930s New York City, but key characters, locations, and events are depicted in new ways. None of these changes feel arbitrary though. They're all derived from Marvel in one way or another. The exploits of a young Peter Parker, for example, have been replaced with Nicolas Cage's older, more cynical Ben Reilly. This change allows Spider-Noir to captivate early on. Instead of following a college-bound kid who stumbles into his powers, we're given a semi-retired superhero and struggling private investigator. Spider-Noir opens with an introduction to a jaded Riley. Past trauma and lingering guilt have led to his overly pessimistic view on life. This doesn't stop him from taking on odd jobs given the state of his failing PI business. It does make it easier for Riley to keep clients and occasionally his friends at bay though. And while he still cares about people to a degree, his days as the Spider, his superhero alter ego, are seemingly behind him. Essentially, Riley is a shell of his former self. However, it is this lived experience that aligns perfectly with the show's noir aesthetic. A hardened, down-on-his-luck PI who's struggling to make ends meet is the perfect setup for some crime-riddled melodrama. Again, the liberties taken with the source material are purposeful. Everything from Riley's name, which Marvel fans will note belongs to another character, to the more recent variation of his profession is used to create a familiar yet grittier anti-hero. The same method works for other characters. For example, turning Cat Hardy, aka Black Cat, into a troubled nightclub singer cleverly reintroduces this popular figure as Spider-Noir's femme fatale. There's also an emphasis placed on certain elements of the genre, like Riley narrating his inner thoughts, or the classic need a light, lean in when Hardy pulls out a cigarette. It's what one would expect from film noir, and that's to say nothing of the strong visual treatment used for both the black and white and Technicolor versions of the show. Spider-Noir looks amazing in black and white. An effective use of lighting alters the mood of a given scene. Stark brights alluded to a safer or livelier environment, while long casted shadows built tension. Close-up shots of talking faces and a split Doppler-like effect that produces multiple focal points added a bit of flair, like when a glass of scotch in the foreground and the intended receiver in the background are simultaneously held in focus. Some of the show's violent encounters are subdued given how blood looks without shades of red, but beyond that, the classic black and white feels authentic to the genre. Of course, that's not to say that Spider-Noir looks bad in full Technicolor. This version not only features all of the aforementioned visual tricks, but also a ton of vibrant, super saturated pastel hues. Collectively, it produces a warmer vibe than its black and white counterpart, and the bright colors make the cast's stylish wardrobe pop off the screen in a manner reminiscent of the 1990s Dick Tracy film. That's a compliment. My only issues were the high contrast lighting occasionally washing out a scene's finer details, and this weird green screen effect that makes the elaborate sets seem fake. Regardless of which version you choose to watch, the main attractions will always be the talented cast and the show's excellent dialogue. Cage is damn near perfect as Riley. His ability to display a wide range of emotions in quick succession is commendable. It's the wild shifts in body language that best reflect the disgruntled detective though. The occasional manic display or over-the-top mannerism makes Riley's odd spider-based tics feel real. And though it slips from time to time, hearing Cage's version of a 1930s dialect is a real treat, especially when played opposite of Li Zhongli, with her sharp line delivery and cold yet ultimately endearing demeanor that echoes Hardy's mysterious vibe. Lamorne Morris and Karen Rodriguez are charming as freelance journalist Robbie Robertson and Riley's assistant Janet, respectively. Brendan Gleeson is believable as the ruthless mob boss Silvermane. Jack Hudson's strong, silent-type approach to Flint Marko should resonate with fans, while Andrew Cadwell is delightfully unhinged as Dirk Layden, aka Megawatt. Honestly, Spider-Noir's entire cast is great. Whether they're throwing a punch or engaging in witty banter, everyone shines when given the chance. The only major criticism I have for Spider-Noir is how predictable its plot can be. When Hardy hires Riley to find her missing bodyguard, who's suffering from a life-threatening mutation, there's intrigue. Even more so after the introduction of superpowered assassins and a corrupt politician with ties to the mob. Tension-filled sleuthing, comedic moments, action-packed showdowns, all of it is entertaining. The problem is that many of the twists and turns can be seen from a mile away. It doesn't take much to figure out who's pulling the strings or to predict how a violent encounter will end. Now, this aspect of the show doesn't completely ruin Spider-Noir, but it does lessen the impact of an otherwise well-written story. Spider-Noir is an awesome addition to the Sony Spider-Man Universe. It features a strong script, wonderful performances, and awesome cinematography. There are some minor issues when it comes to the show's predictable plot, and the Technicolor version isn't as appealing as its black and white counterpart. That said, Spider-Noir still manages to be an outstanding comic book adaptation.